We gonna, we about to take off.
Yo, what's happening, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Before We Take Off. My name is Mufara, and I am going to be hosting this podcast. I'm super excited. I'm super nervous, to be honest, to be doing this. I've been trying to think of a podcast concept for such a long time. And there were so many ideas that were kind of brewing in my head in terms of what we could do as a podcast, what the podcast world needed. And it turns out I just needed to take a look inward. Kind of sitting here thinking to myself, man, like I wish there was a platform for people just like me, people who were learning as we went along in our journey, whether it's creatively, whether it's on a business lens, whether it's athletically, whatever it may be. Like I just wish that like people who are at the start of their hustle or the beginning of their hustle had an opportunity to share their story. Because let's be honest, man, like I've been doing this music thing for such a long time. And yes, I've been able to appear on radio, appear on other shows and do all these amazing things. But I really had to fight for that opportunity. And sometimes it felt like, man, of the 100,000 times that I tried to do something like this, I maybe only ever got one or two yeses. And it's really hard because maybe it feels like my journey would have been so different had I had the opportunity much earlier in life, or, you know, just if it was a little bit easier for me or something. I don't know. I don't know. But the point is, that's what this show is for. That's what this platform is for. I call this space the launch pad. Yes, it is a bit of a, for those of you watching this is a virtual screen at the moment because we're building the studio. It's on the way, maybe in 10 years, I don't know. But this is the space, this is the launch pad. And I really want to invite so many people, whether you're an artist, whether you're a creative, whether you are an athlete, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are an online content creator, like whatever your hustle may be, I really want to speak to you. I really want to give you that platform. I really want to give you that opportunity to just tell your story. Because I think as humans, there's nothing more important than our story, and people want to connect with your story. I sure as hell do. I want to hear from everybody. I don't want to hear from people only when they're successful. And that's not to say I don't want to hear from people who are successful. I do. I especially want to hear from those people. But I don't only want to hear from you when you're successful. I want to hear from you when you're building something, when you're building from scratch, when you're starting again, when you have started and you've quit. And then 2 years later, you're picking it back up, the messy beginning or the messy middle, even. Like, that's why I called it Before We Take Off, because we're really on the runway. We're on our way to doing great things, and everybody starts somewhere. And I think there's so much value in hearing those stories before that success hits. A little bit about myself. Like I mentioned before, if you're a first time listener or somebody who is not familiar with my story and who I am, first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm a musician primarily. I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I dabbled in a bit of acting, dabbled in a bit of writing. Like there's a lot of things that that I've tried to do in my 29 years of life. And that's just because I think at its core, like I just love to create. I love to make something. I love to entertain people. I love to connect with people through creation. And that kind of reflects in my, like, I guess, corporate career, if you want to call it that. I've always worked in spaces where I have the opportunity to kind of just bring something fresh, something new, and just try things and let them fail, and try things and let them fail again, and then try a third time and hopefully it succeeds. And so I've got a background in hospitality. Who doesn't? Hospitality and retail. Am I right? We all do. But I've also got a background in early childhood education. In the last 5 or 6 years, I was working in tech, and now I'm kind of working in business education and events. And, all of these spaces have kind of allowed me and have taught me to, think outside the box and think creatively, whether it's because I'm trying to entertain someone at an event or keep a customer happy. My job history has just given me the opportunity to, like, yeah, be so creative in so many places. So I'm really excited to be in this space and kind of speak to other people who are creative. And like by creative, I don't mean creatives. Like there's creativity and there's innovation in just about everything. So I really do want to speak to that graphic designer. I really do want to speak to the next aspiring AFL player. I really do want to speak to the person who is running a beauty brand or a tech startup. I really do want to speak to the person who is, kicking off their online content career and building their audience from scratch, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. I want to speak to that person and I want us to collectively hear from those people as well. There's nothing more like being able to learn from someone, being able to learn from someone's experience and just giving them the opportunity to tell us their story and connect with them that way. So if you're in the early stages of something meaningful, then man, we want to hear from you. I want to speak to you and I want you to tell your story. So you can expect very real conversations, all right? We're not here to have any published or polished success stories, I should say. We're not here to kind of just, brag about the number of sales that you might have made in the first 2 years or whatever. The, amount of influencers who tagged your shit or like anything like that. Like I really want to hear the realest of real conversations with everybody. I want to know their lessons. I want to learn their struggles. I want to learn, how they tap into that mindset. What are some of their earlier wins? What are some of their earlier losses? I want to speak to a diverse range of guests. I've told you already the kinds of guests that I want to speak to. Generally, I want to speak to anyone building anything from scratch. That's what this show is about. So if you're listening, welcome to the show. If you're a first-time listener, welcome to the show. There's a lot to catch up on. If this is going to be the first episode, I consider this the soft launch. And if this whole episode, if this whole idea of Before We Take Off resonates with you, I'd love for you to subscribe. Share it with someone who is starting something and who could potentially be a guest on this show. There are no hoops to jump through to get onto this show. If you have a story you want to tell, I want to hear from it. And if you want to hear those stories, then follow along and come along for the ride. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here and welcome to Before We Take Off.
You know what? We about to take off.